Named after the Austrian town of Linz, which is the third largest city in Austria, Linzertorte is an impressive raspberry jam-filled dessert, richly flavored with almonds and hazelnuts and a hint of cinnamon. Its signature lattice pattern top is a cinch to make if you have one of these little fluted pastry wheels. We have to start first with the nuts. I have already a cup of blanched almonds, and these are hazelnuts, which are also known as filberts. And if you heat these in the oven, the skins start to loosen, and I find the easiest way to rub the skins off, just put all the nuts between two bar cloths and rub. The roughness of the towel removes most of those skins. Grind the nuts in the food processor. Don't grind them too much. You don't want them to turn into almond hazelnut butter, but just grind them into a flour-like substance. This looks very nice. Oh, and they smell so good. So there's our ground nuts. We want to sift all the dry ingredients together. 1 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour. That's 1/3 of a cup, and 1 cup. 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. These are 1/4 teaspoons. And 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. 2. And 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And you can add your nuts also to the dry ingredients because they're going to be added all together. Loosen any out of the nooks and crannies of the food processor. So here you have a nice, nutty, fragrant, dry ingredient that's going to go into the rest of the dough. Cream 1 1/2 sticks of butter with 1 cup of granulated sugar, and we're going to add 1 large egg yolk. So save the white, reserve that. Oh, and what a beautiful yolk that is. Add that to your butter and sugar. And then add your dry ingredients. Torte means cake in German. There are many different kinds of torts. Sachertorte, Linzertorte. And then add the rest of the dry ingredients. So here's our dough. I'm making it into a small rectangle and cutting it in half evenly. Half for the bottom of the Linzertorte and half for the lattice top. And this should be pressed into the bottom of a 10-inch removable bottom Tart Shell. So using your fingertips, push that dough a little more than halfway up the edges of the pan. And we don't want all these fingerprints, so we're going to smooth out the bottom with this nice little measuring cup. And Linzertortes, oh well, they were very popular in our house. So that's pretty. Very, very well done. Now, the next is the lattice top. And I find that it really does work very well if you just roll the dough out between 2 sheets of parchment. So roll the dough out to about 12 inches in diameter, all even thickness. We're going to cut strips once this dough has chilled. And chilling is important to make it easier to handle. So this gets chilled, and the dough gets chilled. See how easy it is to move around if you have it on paper? Very, very good. So chill this in about 30 minutes until it's firm. So into the unbaked crust, put 1 1/4 cups of raspberry jam. Very pretty. To create the lattice topping, cut even strips, and there should be 12 strips of equal width. And these are not woven, you can just lay them on top of one another. And I found that the easiest way is to lay these strips with a spatula like this, just inside on top of that beautiful jam. So beautiful and a little nerve-wracking. This dough is very short. They call it short. It will break because it's brittle. And now lay the next strips in a diagonal on top of the first. Looks very good. If the dough is really, really cold, as I have it, it works absolutely just fine. Put this back into the freezer for 30 minutes until it is 100% firm, and then bake in a 350-degree oven, rotating your pan about halfway through until the torte is golden brown all over. That takes about 40 minutes. It's very nice to sprinkle lightly with confectioner's sugar through a sieve. And this cake is best eaten the day it's baked. A little goes a long way. This is a very, very rich nut and jam torte.